welcome to another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. As always, I am your host, Molly McGrath, founder of this Office Altering podcast. All right, I'm so excited about today's topic. I'm just going to dive right in. We are going to be talking about here, it's interesting. It's the beginning of the year, Q1. People have fresh opportunities. So excited to hear that 2021 is off to an amazing start for so many law firms. And we've been getting inundated with requests for supporting people with hiring or hiring process, things of that nature. And, when we get on a discovery call with firms, it's interesting because we'll always say we want all decision makers and anybody involved in this process on this call because it really gives us the persona and the values of your entire law firm. Who's going to be training this person? Who's going to be interviewing them? Who's going to be responsible for measuring their KPIs, things of that nature? And I cannot tell you how many people I have turned down this month alone in regards to taking them on as a client for this reason. Their hiring manager and or their professional law firm administrator, their CEO, their COO, whatever term resonates with you. I cannot tell you how they are killing your business, especially your hiring process. I'm not certain. I can think of quite a few firms actually off the top of my head in 2020 that we took on because the attorney was so amazing. And we got on the call with the attorney and the hiring manager was there. And we were like, oh my goodness, such an amazing attorney. Because hiring is sales. We have to sell your firm. We have to sell your culture, especially in the legal space. The legal space is so incredibly tight right now. It is an employee's market. I was on the phone with another recruiter right now, and they're in the startup recruiting phase. And so they place CMOs, CFOs, CTOs, some of the C-level suite, things of that nature. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's just as tight in IT and fintech and technology and things of that nature as well. It's an employee's market. And it has nothing to do with the stimulus or unemployment or any of that stuff in the professional services space. But people are really taking a hard stock, like hopefully most of you are, in regards to what type of client do I enjoy to work with? Do I want to be around? The ones that pay me the least amount of money cause me the most heartache. The ones that pay me top dollar are the greatest joy to work with. We all know the statistics. We all have the case studies. Go back and look at the top 10 clients that hired you and look at the common themes of the ones that bring you so much joy and happiness because they're just amazing to be around. And so, we're looking at this and it is an employee's market and they are showing up fully, wholly present. It's no longer like I need a job, I need to get a paycheck. And they're interviewing you. They're interviewing your firm. They're interviewing your culture. They're interviewing your core values first and foremost. So it's interesting when I do the intake process or I do the discovery calls, I'm really getting clear on what types of firms I will not work with anymore. And really I'm getting more powerful and clear in my vetting questions when I take people on and decide to work with them. Because there's a lot of law firms out there that do not want to change. And, especially that's why I don't work with big firm because typically that's that. They just want to put butts in seats. So you really want to take a look at who's on your advisory council. Who are the people that are supporting you? And today we're talking about hiring, training, onboarding, retaining, and keeping employees and stopping the revolving door. I'm so excited about a podcast I'm doing here pretty quickly in the next couple of weeks. And we talked about, it's from a company, Higher Power, and he was sharing with me that he's launching his new book, Healing Your Career Wounds, which I love, 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 love. And I cannot wait to have him on our podcast. But your hiring manager is killing your practice. Your professional law firm administrator, whoever, and this is why, because they don't know about hiring. So often when we meet with attorneys, halfway through the process, they're like, we're getting ready to make an offer letter, or we're getting ready to put candidates in place, or getting them in front of the attorney. And we'll get emails like, oh, my fractional CFO, or my fractional CEO, or my fractional CMO said X, or my business coach, which I have no idea, where these business coaches are coming out of the woods. So if you have your advisory council, you better get everybody front and center and at the table first and foremost before you do any hiring within your practice, and make sure everybody is on the same page around core values, around pay, about how we interview, about how we vet people, and what we look at in regards to people. Because so often when we put candidates in front, they more often than not love the attorney. It's that when they're working with their professional law firm administrator or whoever else is on their frontline advisory council, where they're like, that person's an absolute jerk. I would never work for them. And then they come back to us and the candidate bows out. And I actually, have had to tell attorneys that, and they got totally defensive and blamed it on the candidate. But when it happens 2, 3, 4 different times, you have to look and take stock and do analysis of everybody on your advisory council team. So really look at that and make sure what each role each person plays. Your CFO should have no say in the hiring process other than what you can pay the person or what you have available. And if you don't have it available, where you're dipping in to invest in this person. I had a firm that we had an amazing non-attorney salesperson position, taking a major pay cut to come work for the opportunity for this firm because they had such incredible leads. Their marketing was just rocking. They couldn't even keep up with the intake, what have you. And then we had verbal agreement on the offer. I totally sold the firm. I totally got them to take a $25,000 paycheck. And in the 10th, hour, the CFO comes in, fractional CFO and fractional CEO, and have the sidebar coaching session with the attorney. And the attorney makes an offer and slashes the pay again, $20,000, because the CFO said that they heard from other firms were paying someone X, Y, and Z, what have you. And we completely lost a phenomenal candidate that was willing to take a job at low, even lower than the market value. So be clear on who you are advising and who your advisory team is, because recruiting and hiring, whether you do it internally, whether you do it externally, is 100% sales. We're selling culture. We're selling the people that are in your firm. We're selling their managers. I mean, when you look at Amazon's hiring process, 85% of their hiring process comes from hiring from their core values. It's not these, skill set, years of service. It's not about their knowledge and what have you. Are you in line with our core values? And this goes for the candidate as well as for everyone in your existing practice. And anchoring to them. I was speaking at the Law Firm Growth Summit yesterday, and I loved it because somebody said, every day in our morning huddle, when we meet, we review our core values every single morning. And we all kind of take pause and rate ourselves on how we're doing by living, breathing, walking, talking, and interacting from that place. And it's very enlightening when you keep them front and center and you keep them off the shelf. So if you are having trouble with hiring people and keeping people, yes, it's a tight market. But if you have an amazing culture and you have amazing people that are connectors, they come from a leadership mindset, they come from a coaching mindset, they come from a mentorship mindset. Mine is, everything about the KPI and the ROI. If they're not leading that because you're in the personal service industry and you're feeling that you have a revolving door, you no longer get away with blaming it on it's hard to find good people. Not in this day and age, not even during a tight market, not even during a pandemic. There are phenomenal people out there that are willing to take a bullet for you, to rise above and do whatever, as long as you have core values in your practice and they're front and center. So really take stock of who's on your advisory council, who's in charge of your hiring process, who's involved in your hiring process, first and foremost, before you embark on any kind of recruiting or retained search or hiring process. And really ask yourself, would I want to work here? Susie Q is responsible. She's a professional law firm administrator, the COO. And look at her demeanor. Look at her body language. Look at the way. Pay attention on the next interview that you do. Look at the people at the table that you're already employing versus a candidate and seeing how they are interacting with people. Because it's not you, attorney, that is typically killing the deal. It is really the people that are running the show when you are hopefully behind closed doors working on your top 3 revenue producing activities. So if you've had turnover or you've interviewed people and they've turned down your jobs or they've come through the process and then the deal was killed at, I don't care, the 6th hour, 7th hour, 11th hour, what have you, do not let yourself off the hook. Do not cut yourself short of an opportunity for truth, an opportunity for growth, and really looking at the people you are currently employing in your office, because they are a reflection and they are part of the candidate's decision-making process. I've had multiple candidates go through the entire interviewing process, and then the professional law firm administrator gets involved, and it might be interview number 2 or interview number 3, or they're taking assessments and just email communication back and forth of the candidate delivering what was asked for them. And the tonality of these arrogant professional law firm administrators that I've dealt with in the past year, to the fact where I'm like, here's your refund. We can't even sell your law firm. We love you, attorney. You're amazing. Take a bullet for you all day. But unfortunately, these candidates have to deal with this jerk. And so we can't sell your firm. So if you're having hiring problems, if you're having trouble getting people fully through the process where they're raising their hand with a resounding hell yes, can't wait to work for you. I mean, I have a person right now that sent me an email this morning and said, I just want to give you an update. Just completed my first week. Oh my gosh, I can't thank you enough for finding me finally a legal home to belong to. It's so incredible. Thankfully, more often than not, I get emails like that, but I can think of about 3 different firms this year that I either had to fire or had to give a refund to, and it was my favorite check to write all year because I couldn't get them off of my email and out of my phone quick enough because of the professional law firm administrator. So take this opportunity now, really do a deep dive into your hiring process. Really look at who is part of your hiring team, who's your hiring manager, who's your training team. Look at the quality of questions you're asking people, how you all show up in these interviews, and really what your dig deep into your core value questions you're asking throughout this hiring process, and get really honest and really clear on that so you can find out where the holes are and where the problems are within your law firm process if you are sick and tired of dealing with not being able to find, keep, and retain rock star employees. It always starts with us. You know, one of my favorite sayings that If you have three fingers pointing at someone else, there's one pointing back at you. You have to start with you. You have to take what's step one? Awareness. But there's a thing of when you have awareness hell. So you don't want to be in that place. You want to get really clear, do a full analysis and a full review of your hiring process, who's involved, and take a deep look at how you all are showing up in that process and how you are interacting with people. Because guess what? That's your brand management as well. These people interview with you. All it takes is for them to go on social media and be like, oh my God, I interviewed with ABC Law Firm. They're the worst. They treated me terribly. The way that they ran me through the wood chipper, I can't even imagine how they treat their clients. I have law firms that I've seen that. I've seen it on Glassdoor, Indeed, all the different recruiting platforms where we can't do anything about it. There's reviews out there. There's reviews out on Facebook and social media and Instagram and what have you. And you have to treat the people you are interviewing like it's your $10 million client. How you all show up, because the second they leave your firm, they're going to share their experience. For the love of God, they share what they eat for breakfast 40 times a week. Like, they're going to share if they have a bad experience, just like if they did driving through a drive-through or a local restaurant. So your hiring process, you have to interact with it like sales, like you would if you're sitting in front of a $10 million client. If anything, from brand awareness and brand reputation management. Okay, so if you need help, you want some tips, tricks, techniques of how to do this analysis, reach out, comment below. Email us, www.hiringandempowering.com. Shoot an email to info@hiringandempowering.com and ask for an appointment. We would be happy to hop on a Zoom with you and get this under control for you if you're experienced. If you're doing great and you feel excited about it, again, I would highly recommend that you do an analysis and spend time and maybe get a pizza and do a lunch and learn, treat it like a mini workshop and check in with your team. How are we doing with our hiring and onboarding process? What would you have liked to have seen? What can we do to improve it, to even make it for every person out in the marketplace, i.e. walking referral sources? Yes, a candidate coming in can be a great referral source or a horrible one. So take stock and do an analysis of this and let us know how you do.